Hello there. It is the first day of March 2022, and of course, it is another interesting and exciting day to bring you the newspaper review. My name is Cyril Aloysius, and of course, it is and has always been my pleasure to bring you the newspaper headlines. But before I do that for today, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the newspaper headlines in full. Please stay with us. All right, you're welcome back from that quick break, and taking you straight to our first paper for this morning. We have in the Nation newspaper, worsening petrol scarcity. Worsening petrol scarcity cripples cities, businesses. Worsening petrol scarcity cripples cities, businesses. Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan, Oshogbo, worst hit. Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan, Oshogbo, worst hit. TUC, TUC Malls Industrial Action. TUC Malls Industrial Action. And next, in the Nation newspaper for this morning, we have row in APC over convention panel. Row in APC over convention panel. Row in APC over convention panel. What IOCs must do before divesting from Nigeria by NNPC. What IOCs must do before divesting from Nigeria by NNPC. And next, in the Nation, we have INEC okays 18 parties for 2023 elections. INEC okays 18 parties for 2023 elections. Agency, no more registration. Agency, no more registration. And next in the Nation for this morning, we have Russia-Ukraine war. Evacuation of Nigerians begins tomorrow. Russia-Ukraine war. Evacuation of Nigerians begins tomorrow. That's on page 30 of the Nation newspaper. And lastly, in the Nation for this morning, we have Zenith Banks makes 765.6 billion naira full year gross earnings. Zenith Bank makes 665.6 billion naira full year gross earnings. That's on page 7 of the Nation. Governors, minister reject proposed power bill. Governors, minister reject proposed power bill. That's on page 5 of the Nation. All right, that's the much we can take on the Nation for this morning. You want more information on those details, on those headlines you heard, please get a copy of the Nation newspaper for yourself. Taking you straight now to the Vanguard, we have amongst the headlines in the Vanguard, 40% of Nigerian youths jobless. 40% of Nigerian youths jobless. This according to Adeshina. It says 40% of Nigerian youths are jobless, according to Adeshina. Says restructuring should be economic, financial viability driven. Restructuring should be economic, financial viability driven. As group ask him to join 2023 presidential race. As group ask him to join 2023 presidential race. Next in the Vanguard for this morning, we have Zenith Bank's gross earnings rise to 665.6 billion naira. Zenith Bank's gross earnings rise to 765.6 billion naira. That's on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And next in the Vanguard for this morning, we have Russia-Ukraine war. Evacuation of Nigerians begins tomorrow. Russia-Ukraine war. Evacuations of Nigerians begins tomorrow. That's according to Baja on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. And next in the Vanguard, we have autonomy. Autonomy. Labour takes protest to NAS. Autonomy. Labour takes protest to NAS. And next in the Vanguard, we have FG ASU face off. Federal government and ASU face off. Minister walks out on NANS as students protest. Minister walks out on NANS as students protest. And lastly, in the vanguard for this morning, we have legendary actor and poet Larry Williams dies at 81. Legendary actor and poet Larry Williams dies at 81. Okay, that's the much we can take in the vanguard for this morning. Do get a copy of the vanguard for yourself. And taking you straight now to This Day newspaper, we have amongst the headlines in This Day, U.S. cuts off Russia's central bank from dollar transactions. U.S. cuts off Russia's central bank from dollar transactions. And next in This Day for this morning, we have NNPC divesting IOCs from Nigeria's upstream sector must address issues of abandonment, decommissioning of oil assets. NNPC, divesting of IOCs from Nigeria's upstream sector must address issues of abandonment, decommissioning of oil assets. That's on page 3 of This Day newspaper. And next in This Day, we have INEC publishes notice of election for 2023. INEC publishes notice of election for 2023. Okay, next in This Day, we have climate change. Climate change. Nearly half of humanity living in danger zone, says UN Secretary General. Climate change. Nearly half of humanity living in danger zone, says UN Secretary General. And lastly, on this day, we have resilient Zenith Bank beats market expectations. Resilient Zenith Bank beats market expectations with double-digit growth in gross earnings in 2021. Resilient Zenith Bank beats market expectations with double-digit growth in gross earnings in 2021. All right, that's the much we can take on this day. And taking you straight now to the Daily Sun, we have amongst the headlines in the Daily Sun, Russia-Ukraine war. FG begins evacuation of trapped Nigerians tomorrow. Russia-Ukraine war. Federal government begins evacuations of trapped Nigerians tomorrow. All right, that's the much we can take in the Daily Sun. And taking you straight now to the Punch newspaper, we have amongst the headlines, Ukraine-Russia war. FG to airlift 2,000 Nigerians. Evacuation begins on Wednesday. FG to airlift 2,000 Nigerians. Evacuation begins on Wednesday. Buhari approves funding as FG tips air peace. Max Air. 4 or 5 airplanes to evacuate Nigerian refugees, according to federal government. And next in the Punch for this morning, we have suspected kidnappers shoot Ekiti monarch. Resident laments government inaction. Suspected kidnappers shoot Ekiti monarch. Resident laments government inaction. And next we have human capital development critical in 2023 poll. That's according to Bakare. Human capital development critical to 2023 poll. That's according to Bakare. And next we have Zenith Bank gross earnings rise by 10%. Hit 765 billion naira. Zenith Bank gross earnings rise by 10%. Hit 765 billion naira. And lastly, in the Punch, we have Minister walks out on students protesting ASU strike. All right, that's the much we can take on the Punch newspaper. And taking you now to our last paper for this morning is the Nigerian News Direct. And amongst the headlines in the Nigerian News Direct, we have FG targets $105 billion capital base for NNPC. FG targets $105 billion capital base for NNPC. Vows to make cooperation most capitalized company in Africa. Vows to make cooperation most capitalized company in Africa. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct. And next we have Zenith Bank surpasses market expectations with double-digit growth in gross earnings. Zenith Bank surpasses market expectations with double-digit growth in gross earnings. Next, we have ASU strike. ASU strike. Meeting ends in deadlock as Education Minister walks out on protesting students. Meeting ends in deadlock as Education Minister walks out on protesting students. And next, in the Nigerian News Direct, we have digital oil field will boost competence, efficiency, productivity in sector. That's according to Ali Tanko. Digital oil field will boost competence, efficiency, productivity in sector, according to Ali Tanko. And lastly, in the Nigerian News Direct, we have APC national chairmanship race. APC national chairmanship race. Having Akume as consensus candidate will pacify northern minorities. Having Akume as consensus candidate will pacify northern minorities. All right, that's the much we can take on today's segment of the newspaper headlines for today. Thank you so much for sticking there. Right about now, we will be going on a short break, and when we return, I will be joined by my lovely guest, who will be talking on some of the headlines in today's papers. Please stay with us. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. And right about now, I am being joined by my lovely guest. And by that person, I'm talking about Mr. Isaac Kalu. Mr. Isaac Kalu, you're welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, so Mr. Isaac Kalu is going to be talking on some of the headlines in today's papers. Mr. Isaac Kalu.
Yes, please.
There are a lot of headlines that we read in the papers this morning, but unfortunately, because of time, we won't be able to talk on so much of them. We'll be picking only a few of them to talk about.
Okay, right.
And amongst the few which I'm talking about this morning is INEC okaying just 18 parties to participate in the 2023 election. So,
Okay.
I don't know what you have to say concerning that.
Well, this is a democratic, political atmosphere. I mean, this is in Nigeria currently. We are known as a democratic nation, and to that effect, I think we should have as many parties as possible. But if you also look at it from the angle of, being precise to what we want in governance in the country, you also see the need to cut down on the number of political parties we have in the country. There are political parties, you don't even hear about them. You don't know them. They don't campaign.
Yeah.
You don't even know who their aspirants are. So it looks almost like a joke. So I think cutting down on the number of political parties in Nigeria at this time is very paramount.
Okay.
And I think it's a good one.
It will do a lot of good.
It will do a lot of good. It will give us a clear number of serious political parties we have. I mean, parties that have what it takes, to contend with with other bigger,
the already dominant parties.
Exactly, dominant parties. Okay. I'm looking at is it ADP or ADC? The one that is bringing Mogalo out. I think it's ADP or ADC.
Okay.
So it's a party full of youths.
Party.
Yeah, it's really a party that can, even as it is now, stand before PDP and APC. From what I've seen. So I think we should have more of such parties.
Okay.
I believe in the next coming years of elections, we need to cut down more. Okay. Cut down more. Have relevant parties that can come up, and then you don't have to see that long gap between parties.
Mr. Isaac, in as much as the move is actually a good one, don't you think other smaller parties will feel left out? Parties who actually intending to, someday make wave like the PDP and APCs, because Rome wasn't built in a day.
Definitely.
The APC and PDP we know today, they started from somewhere. They
Yes.
didn't just come out and then become big.
Yes. Yes.
So other parties coming up, aspiring to be big parties like APC and PDP, don't you think it's a thing of unfairness to them?
I think in this light, other smaller parties should look out for parties that share the same
Same
ideology.
goals.
You know,
Same goals, okay.
I think it's about ideology, and unfortunately, most of our parties and even the bigger parties don't know what these ideologies are. They just have a simple goal of winning elections.
Okay.
They don't know the ideology of the parties. I don't think our parties here have ideologies. Ideology is what you believe in, as in nothing can make you derail from what you believe in. That's what ideology is.
Okay.
I think our parties, if our parties have that, you see that we don't need to have too many parties around.
So
They should look out for bigger parties
should
that
collabo.
Thank you. They should merge. They should merge.
okay.
Look out for parties that share the same ideology with them and merge with them. Join forces.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's what they should do.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for sharing your thoughts on that particular headline. And another interesting headline I think had on today's papers was the federal government's intention to evacuate trapped Nigerians in the Ukraine and Russia war ongoing on Wednesday. So I don't know what you think concerning that, but I think it's a good move actually by the federal government to really
Yes.
evacuate trapped Nigerians in Ukraine.
Yes, it's a good move, and I think federal government shouldn't wait until people start dying there or start looking for where to scamper to before they start evacuating them. I expected this to have happened like
Even before things
now.
got to this level,
Definitely, definitely. If we saw what was coming and we are prepared, we should have been able to pull out our people
beforehand. Yes.
exactly beforehand. So it's a good one. Even though it's coming a bit late than I thought, but they have tried. They
Yes.
have tried. It's good. It's good. So from Wednesday, I think a lot of us, a lot of us have actually moved to countries like Hungary, Romania,
Yes.
Poland.
In a
Looking for
bid
where to exactly yeah
to escape from the troubles.
yeah, and feel more safer,
Yes.
a bit safer. So, but those who are still in the Ukraine, I think it's a good one for the federal government to come in to see how they can evacuate them, because that is where the thing is really happening, and people need to live there as quick as possible.
As possible.
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, Adeshina's declaration of jobless youths in Nigeria as just 40%. Do you think even if it is true that there are actually jobless youths in Nigeria at the moment, but the percentage he used, do you think it is factual, or it is just a bid to lower down or cushion the effect it would have on our image worldwide?
Well, I think that's the situation here, because
But personally, I feel it is more than 40%.
no, it is.
I think
It's actually more than
70%.
It's actually more than that. It's actually more than that. The thing is, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina is also a member of this administration. So he wouldn't say what will make the whole administration look like a joke.
Okay.
And again, but for him to even come up with the 40%, I think he's also being fair, because 40 is still much. Letting people know how it is. I was just going through the news proper.
It is still much, but not as much as
Exactly. But then the report was drawn from the statistics of the National Bureau.
yes.
Yeah, I think it was about 33%, 33.3% as of 2020.
Okay.
You know, so if he says 40 now, I think he's still within the
It's
range.
not out of place.
It's not out of place, yeah. But we are actually more than 40% jobless in the country. It is like that, and there's no shame in saying that because it is a situation.
Yes.
And then I think our government should buckle up and do what they have to do so that people can be employed. They should look into the economy. Things are not going well. Businesses are suffering. Look at the situation with the fuel scarcity, for example.
It has even come to.
So, you know, on my way here, I saw a lot of people on the road. No taxis. Even when you have the money to afford a
It's not
taxi, the taxi is not available because the owner of the taxi, the cab, doesn't have money to purchase the fuel. So it's terrible. It's terrible. And this thing goes deep into our, economic activities as it affects the unemployment situation in the country. So you see, all the way around, it boils down to the same unemployment situation. So imagine a taxi man who has employed himself sitting at home because there is no fuel available for him to buy. Even when it's available, it's exorbitant. He doesn't have money to buy it.
Yes.
So basically, we are more than 40% jobless in the country. Yeah.
Mr. Carlo,
yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your time, but unfortunately, we have to draw the curtain here on the show.
Always good to have you, sir.
Yes.
Always good to have
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Us.
Thank you.
And you watching us, this is the much we can take on today's segment of the newspaper review. Thank you so much for sticking there. Without you, we would not be here. Thank you so much. Just in case you're not following us on our social media handles, please endeavor to do so. On YouTube is at Thav TV, on Instagram is at Thav TV_NG, on Facebook is at Thav TV, and on Twitter is at Thav TV. And do well to turn on the notification bell in your Facebook so you will be notified on when we do come online and when we upload our new videos. Thank you so much once again for sticking there. My name remains Cyril Aloysius, and until I come your way again tomorrow, have a wonderful day.